Welcome, my friend. John Weberg here, the founder of Profitalize, and today I'm going to be walking you through one of the biggest myths there is in email marketing, in following up, in communicating to any lead list or any audience in business. And as well, what's even more important is that I guarantee with what you're about to learn, you will drastically increase your open rates and your click-through rates and your overall profits, your lead retention, and your customer retention if you listen and apply what you are about to learn and what I'm about to show you. Now, the first thing we need to do is actually to crush and extinguish the huge lie that headlines and body copy and optimizing them is one of the only, if not the main dictating factor of people continually opening and clicking through and retaining as a lead in any email list of any kind or in any follow-up list of any kind. And this is not the case. This is not true. Yes, optimizing your headlines to get higher open rates and people opening your emails and actually engaging with your emails is important. And over time, email providers like Google, like Yahoo, and the CRMs and autoresponders and tools you are using to send emails from or to send follow-up from, yes, having a higher open rate and optimizing your headlines is important. Don't get me wrong. And optimizing and having really good body copy, good CTAs, and all these different things is important because what they do is they take from the total leads you are sending to, out of these total number of leads in an email list or in a contact list or follow-up list you're sending to, out of all of them, the ones that are opening and how often they open multiple emails, that signifies to the email provider or to Google, Yahoo, to the CRM or autoresponder you're using, it signifies to them that your emails and the content and follow-up and what you're sending them is relevant and that it should be sent to and hit the inbox more often, not hit the promotions folder, not hit the spam box, and all these different things. However, that's not the most important factor, and everyone who's been telling you that is lying to you. The email provider or the CRM and the tool you're using, the tool or the CRM, is also not the most important factor. In fact, both of these are almost negligible if you pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. And I'm going to rescue you with what I'm about to share with you. I'm going to rescue you from what every single business I've ever been in contact with in the past 10 or 11 years now. Every single business in probably 30 different industries or 30 different niches I've consulted for, worked with, have sent emails in affiliate marketing businesses of my own, you name it, or I've looked at or helped friends with, has their open and click-through rates look like this. They go down and down and down, and this could be over a few months. This could be over a few years, but in general, over time, they notice no matter what they do with their headlines, no matter how they optimize them, no matter what kind of promotions or launches or anything they do, they notice that over time, their open and click-through rates keep going down and down and down, and there's almost nothing they can do about it. And then they launch a new email list with a new CRM, and they get the same thing, and no matter what they do, they keep seeing that. They have no what's called lead retention, and they are not keeping leads for a long time, and they're even doing some nurturing, they're doing some email segmentation, but they're missing this one thing. It's the most important part of business that makes all marketing, all sales processes, all follow-up, everything perform great no matter what, or at least a lot better. And what that is the fact that what defines higher open rates and higher click-through rates, what defines that is the type of leads you are bringing in. Because think about it. What engages someone? What engages and keeps someone engaged with a type of content, with follow-up, with communication? What keeps them engaged? Here's actually the truth of it. Nothing really keeps them engaged. They have to already be engaged, interested, and able to afford and have interest in what you're offering already. Yes, sometimes persuasion is used and you want to persuade people to buy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that having leads, I'm going to write this out again, having leads that can afford and that already have deep interest, not just in what you're doing, but in your product and services, and having their solutions solved, or they're finding solutions and getting their problem solved. Having only or a higher amount or a higher percentage of these types of leads going through your business will drastically, especially over time, increase your open rates and click-through rates by anywhere from 30 to 50%. Yes, that or even more from where it currently is. And you can improve this by looking at any small email list. Usually when people start doing email list or outbound lead generation or smaller campaigns, you always notice that smaller campaigns are always performing better. They have very high open rates, very high click-through rates. And the reason that is because most time, businesses over time, they start running ads. They start focusing on getting as many leads as possible. I want as many leads, it doesn't matter what kind, doesn't matter the interest level, doesn't matter any of these different factors. I want as many leads as humanly possible because that will bring in more customers, which in general is true, yes. However, over time, because you're generating a lower quality, you're not focusing on getting still more higher quality leads who are very interested and who can also very much afford your product and services. If someone doesn't have interest or cannot afford it or doesn't like how you're nurturing them, or isn't getting enough messaging in general and isn't being reached out to in the right ways from what they're doing, these other two things, which I'm going to go through next. If you're not doing all these things, you're going to lose their interest no matter what you do. It doesn't matter what headline you send someone. It doesn't matter what body copy or how persuasive or what copywriter you hire. None of these things matter because they don't have interest and cannot afford your product and services. Or they're not even in the industry that you have. So, the most important part of having high open rates and high click-through rates is actually your lead generation. And the quality of the leads you are generating and the speed, because naturally over time, any email list, if you're not generating leads fast enough, no matter how good your lead generation and advertising is, you are still going to see a decrease in open and click-through rates because leads over time, if not generated fast enough, no matter how good you are, they will lose interest. There will be a portion of your leads list that doesn't have interest because you're not bringing in enough leads fast enough. Over 2 years, 10 out of 100 leads or 30 or 50 just are going to move on. They'll buy a different product and service. There's some things you can't control. So you need to focus on, number one, the quality of the leads you are bringing in. You don't want every lead possible. You want only leads so you don't just increase the open and click-through rates you're generating with your email marketing and follow-up efforts, but also so you decrease your ad cost and your lead generation cost of time and money. Because if you are generating versus, let's just say normally you generate 100 leads a month. I'm just throwing a number out there. You generate 100 leads in a month. And normally, because you're just trying to get everyone possible, have the biggest bucket possible to get as many leads and customers as is humanly possible, 100 leads you have total, 50 of them aren't really interested or cannot afford your product and services. Let's just go with 50. Normally it's actually a lot more. If you can reduce the number of leads you're generating, let's just say to 70, but 60 of them, or let's just say 100, but 60 or 70 or 80 of them can now afford and want your product and service, over time, number one, they're more likely to buy, not even regarding any of your follow-up or anything you're doing with communicating to them. They're more likely to buy just because they actually have interest in your product and service and because they can afford it. And as well, now, if you do these other things I'm going to walk you through next, you'll drastically increase your open and click-through rates. And again, like I said, it's not that optimizing and trying to send the best headlines isn't a good thing to do. You should optimize and focus on improving your copywriting to write better emails and follow-up and communication, so your headlines get higher open rates, your body copy gets higher click-through rates, you name it. Those things are indicators and do help. But the type of leads you are bringing in and their actual interest level and what you're offering is much more important. Because I can communicate to someone who already has a 9-figure business that I'm going to help them grow their business. But no matter what, because they're doing 9 figures, which is more than I'm doing, they're most likely not going to listen. But if I, with my experience, am reaching out to and communicating to people who are looking to start and grow a business, or who already have a business and want to grow it and are doing like 6 figures or 7 figures, they're definitely having interest. And again, it also depends on if you want to get even higher quality leads. Let's say, for example, I'm a consultant and I only work with agencies, but I'm generating leads that aren't just agencies. There are other consultants. There are people I don't normally serve, but I could serve, but I don't actually have specific messaging for with these other things. Again, they're less likely to buy. Now, these leads may be more expensive, but if you're getting a higher quality lead who's a lot more likely to buy by multiple times, you're going to increase your profit overall, increase open rates, increase click-through rates, mass and time. So what you need to do is make sure, number one, you're generating a higher quality lead and you're generating leads faster if that is also possible. And also make sure you are clean your email list of people who are unsubscribed. Make sure you're not emailing anyone who's unsubscribed. And also make sure you are not getting rid of leads and cleaning out leads who are not opening, because email providers, Google, Yahoo, and also CRMs and autoresponders have a hard time actually accurately tracking who is opening emails versus clicking. Clicking is a lot more accurate. So make sure you're only eliminating people on your leads list who are bouncing, who are not clicking on links in a very, very, very large amount of time. And as well, make sure you're removing people who are unsubscribed, you name it, from your leads list. Next, now that's the first thing. So subject lines and body copy are important, but the quality and amount of leads you're bringing in and how fast of a time period you're bringing them in is much more important than any CRM you're using, than any tool you're using, than any email provider doing anything. Number 2, the length of how long you are nurturing them and not just promoting to them, and the type of nurturing you are doing. So in most cases, when most businesses, and possibly you or someone watching this, when you bring in leads to any business through any funnel, through any sales process, from any advertising, you initially right away, you go to straight promo mode. The first thing you do is usually go to promo mode. I'm going to sell to them. They're a warm lead. They just came in the door. They just came in the funnel, the sales process. I'm going to promote, get them in, offer them deals, discounts, right away, you name it. And this is usually a few emails. Let's say the average email sequence is probably like 4 emails long. And then most businesses, and I'm telling you this is the case probably with your business if you're watching this right now, you probably have an automated email sequence of some kind, and then they don't receive any other emails from you ever again, or you email your list like once a week or once a month. This is the biggest error by far in all email marketing, all follow-up, all communication with any audience of ever kind in business ever to happen. You must be emailing your list a minimum of 1 time per day or 1 time every other day. The absolute maximum would be 1 time per week. Why is this? It's because number 1, when you are nurturing, always focus on nurturing, providing value, engaging, building like, know, and trust, entertaining, enticing, and educating your audience versus promoting and offering only. When you strictly focus on nurturing and giving your audience what will actually help them solve their problems, strictly, and will actually help them get the solutions they're looking for in free email communication ways, your list, your email list, and your leads, and your prospects, and anything, any way you're following up with people, they will retain and keep as leads and keep interested and be way more likely to buy because you're actually helping them. Just because you're emailing more often, why would that offend them? What's going to offend them? What offends them versus what doesn't offend them? Let's take a look at this. What doesn't offend them is always offering them amazing, unstoppable value every single day. Here's how to, let's say for example, I help people start businesses, I help people grow their businesses. If I'm walking them through in, let's just say, a 21-day email sequence, if the first 7 days is promotion, and I have 14 more days here, I have 7 days here, and I have 7 days here. This is promotion, this is getting them in the door right away. That's fine. If over the next 7 days after this, I'm walking them through how to get more leads for the business, I'm walking them through how to nurture those leads, I'm walking them through how to get more traffic to their sales pages, I'm walking them through how to raise conversion rates on their sales pages, on their checkout carts, I'm walking them through different ways to improve, optimize, and scale their business. And then over the next 7 days, I'm walking them through more about testimonials, social proof, how I help my clients, how I help my customers, how I help my audience. I'm showing them I'm a real, genuine, kind person. I'm not just nurturing them, but I'm also building a real relationship by illustrating how I help the people I work with, how I help my customers and clients, by showing them who I am, my own interests, and by doing storytelling, by entertaining, by being funny, by being exciting, by being engaging, by doing all these different things, by building relationship, and by nurturing them with giving them value. what you're doing with leads over time, this helps a lot, especially over time. What I'm doing is I'm actually building a long-term relationship with the leads that are going to, or have the chance to stay anyways. Because normally what leads do, because you're focusing on just selling them and promoting them and not actually nurturing them, and not nurturing them over an extended period of time. Like I've sent an email a day for years, many years, almost over a decade. The problem is most people, let's just put the 7-day sequence here, is normally most businesses, probably your own, most businesses, this is not calling you out, it's just facts. Look at follow-up statistics and email marketing statistics. Most businesses have like a 7-day or 14-day automated email sequence. It only sells, it doesn't nurture, it doesn't actually build a relationship to the business. It doesn't entertain, it doesn't entice them, it doesn't educate them, it doesn't give value, it doesn't offer promos, discounts, bonuses. It doesn't actually tell a story about the business, how the product and service was made. It doesn't do any of these different things. It's just promo and selling for like 7 days or 14 days. And the lead, what they think is that they think that because they've done what they consider good follow-up or some kind of follow-up, they think that these leads are now bad because they've stopped opening or stopped clicking on emails. And the problem is they're not bad. You just haven't actually built a connection with, nurtured, or engaged your leads in a meaningful way. So you need to focus, number one, on the length of how much you are nurturing your leads. So make sure you're nurturing them nonstop, email every day or every week. Develop some kind of schedule for following up without stopping, because people, like I illustrate here, people do not stop following you or engaging with emails or click through, or they don't stop opening or clicking because you're emailing them more often. Because if you're emailing them things they're interested in or that will help them or solve their problems, they're going to keep going, wow, thank you, wow, thank you, wow, thank you. Versus if you just follow up by just selling and by just having an offer without nurturing them and all these different things, they're going to go away anyways. So you must nurture over an extensive period of time. You must also build a relationship in many different ways. You do it by creating content and follow-up that is entertaining, enticing, and educating. Educating content is content or follow-up or email marketing, emails that, this is again, educating. Educating is storytelling, giving value, walking them through how to solve a problem of theirs, get a solution they're looking for. Entertaining is storytelling, is sharing funny skits, music videos, you name it. More fun, jokes, humorous content. Things that really show who you or your business is as a brand. And then thirdly, enticing is, yes, in between entertaining and educating, you do also want to have offers, bonuses, discounts, exclusives, ways you go over the edge to offer them a guarantee and help them, you name it. Offer and sell, but before you offer and sell, actually give them the solutions they're looking for in some way and actually build a meaningful relationship with them. So, we're on number 2 now, we're going to go to number 3, and I've been talking a lot, there's a lot I'm going through, but it's important that you understand this because this is where businesses go wrong and think, if they're not doing these 2 things, they're just doing, I'm getting good leads, but they're not buying. Well, it's because you're not following up long enough, consistently enough. You're not actually nurturing them, giving them value. You're not showing them you can actually help them. You're not actually even building an actual relationship with them, because these are 2 separate things that you must do. These are both what you must do. These are both very important. So, you need to generate only quality leads who are actually interested and can afford your product and services. Number 2, you want to do that at a speed that you are comfortable with and can afford. And then you want to as well nurture them consistently. It never stops. You never stop emailing any leads. You want to, we're going to get to this. I'm getting ahead of myself. You never stop nurturing your leads, no matter if they're engaged or not engaged. Number 2, or whether you think they're engaged. Number 2, you need to build an actual relationship with them and actually help them provide value. By doing this alone, you'll increase your open rates and click-through rates. By doing this alone, you'll increase your open rates and click-through rates. And the even more helpful, extra little juicy bonus that you want to do to ensure that your business, regardless of the industry, this applies to any industry, any niche, it does not matter what you're doing right now. You want to increase your open rates and click-through rates, which by effect retains leads longer, retains customers longer, increases your conversion rate from leads to customers, and doing all these things massively increases your profit, which allows you to grow your business, reinvest in training for your employees, help your business grow, gives you more money in the bank, you name it. The third most important thing you can do that's absolutely critical is to email list segmentation. Follow-up segmentation, like I have here, and personalization. So another reason why leads on a leads list, for example, we have a list of 100 leads. Why they over time almost always seem to fall off, stop clicking, stop opening, stop, you name it, is because you have to actually meet your lead wherever they are at in their level of interest and engagement. From cold to hot. So if I generate 100 leads, out of these leads, let's say 20 are going to be very cold, 20 are going to be cold, 20 are going to be in the middle, 20 are going to be warm, 20, 40, 60, 80, and 20 more will be very interested. These ones will they'll open a lot of emails, they'll click through on a lot of emails. These ones will somewhat open on emails, click on emails. These ones are almost never going to. So what you need to do is meet your leads at their interest level, and you do that by segmenting. So if I take these leads who are very interested in buying, who have interest, who can afford it, and I gauge that by how often they're opening and clicking on emails, and I segment them into a different nurturing email list or email campaign or nurturing campaign, whatever you call it, different industries, different CRMs, different autoresponders call it different things. If I can segment them and put them into a different follow-up sequence that is more heavily on the offer, that is more heavy on the guarantees and really getting them to buy, and if I can email these ones differently, these are these are yes, this is segmenting we're doing, and this is no way. If I can email these ones right here, if I can email these ones that are very interested in buying and follow up with them differently with different messaging and different nurturing to get them to pull the trigger to really just buy right now. That separately, over time, then these leads who are in the middle or who are at the end, who have no interest or very little interest or who need to be nurtured more before they're actually engaged, if I can meet each of these segments where they're at currently and get them to move to the next segment, you're much likely to turn each one into a higher engaged lead and then into a customer. So what this means is, let me clear some stuff out of the way, because it's getting a little combobulated and there's a lot going on. Is you have these three sections of leads. These are cold, warm, and hot. Your job, by segmenting, is to get your cold leads to become warm leads, your warm leads to become hot leads, your hot leads to become customers. And you do this by segmenting them into different sequences. This is my hot sequence, which is very focused on really the enticing part of communication and follow-up in email marketing, which is here's a deal, here's a discount, here's a bonus, here's all this different stuff. They're already very interested, and they represent that by their clicking and opening on the emails. Now I have as well my warm audience. They're not quite ready to buy, so I still need to build a deeper relationship and nurture them more. So I put them into their own sequence for warm leads. I do email list segmentation. And by doing this, what I do is I actually nurture them. I build a deeper relationship with them. I build more like, know, and trust. I illustrate how I get results for them and get them the solutions they're looking for, how I can solve the problems, show them more about the company, focus on entertaining and educating them, and they will move to become a hot lead. I put them in this hot lead sequence, which will move them to become a customer. Obviously, of course, I do the same thing with cold leads. Cold leads, they're not even very interested. They really need to be nurtured. They need a whole entire sequence of their own. And this cold segment is leads on your list, and you can do this if you have a good CRM or autoresponder, leads on your email list or some kind of follow-up list who are not engaging at all. They're not opening or they're not clicking. You put these people who are not opening, who are not clicking, into a separate email list or email campaign or nurture campaign where they get emails that are really popping out to them, that are really grabbing their attention, making bold claims that are surprising, that are exciting, that are out of this world. And then a certain portion of this cold email list will come alive. Let's say it's 20% or 30% of them. You'll get them to become alive and engage with your messaging and your follow-up finally. Then what you do is you move and turn these people and now segment back towards your warm email sequence, which brings them into then the hot into the customers. By doing the segmentation, what you do with the segmentation is you meet your leads with their engagement level and their interest. You persuade and educate them and entertain them and entice them into moving towards the next section. And what it does is drastically increases click-through rates, open rates, conversion rates, you name it. It helps with everything. So make sure you're doing email list segmentation. It is crucial for everything regarding email marketing and follow-up. As you can do this with texting, you can do it with calling, you can do it with any form of follow-up, but email marketing is the highest converting form of marketing, so that's why I'm going over it. And then finally, and lastly, the third thing you should do to increase open rates, increase click-through rates, increase the profitability overall of your email marketing and your follow-up is to make sure, my friend, you are personalizing the follow-up and communication, follow-up, any communication of any kind as much as possible. Now, what is personalization? Some people think it's just calling out someone's name in a headline, and that does help, but that does increase open rates and click-through rates. But what you can actually do better than this is to not just call out their name, but to call out who they are, their identity, to call out their interest, call out their location. I'm writing gibberish here, but you get what I'm saying. You want to call out more specific details about who they are, where they are, the solutions they're looking for, the problems they're facing. They're as close as you can get in your email copy, the less general you get in your email copy, and your headlines. The more you call out to exactly who they are, you're going to drastically increase their open and click-through rates, because over time, you're more closely building relationship and showing them you understand who they are as a lead and customer, which is how building like, know, and trust is done through email marketing and follow-up. Your lead has to see that, number one, you genuinely want to help them. Number two, you have the ability to help them. Number three, you can help them with little risk to them and high certainty of that happening. And the only way this is done is through nurturing, like I said, through segmenting them, through doing everything I've gone through. When you do all of this, plus you personalize their name, their situation, you do everything you can to call out directly to them and how they're also as well engaging with the segmentation you're bringing them through. So if they're not clicking, you call that out. You say, hey, we saw, this is just an example, we saw that you haven't really been reading a lot of what we've been sending you. John, how can we more easily help you solve your problem with XYZ? Becky, how can we really grab your attention and really help you out? Because that's what we truly care about. We only truly care about helping you get the solutions you're looking for in your business or in your life or in your spouse relationship, in your health, you name it. So, personalization is key. You need to do it. Overall, if you do all these different things, you do make sure that you're generating the highest quality leads possible as fast as possible. If you also make sure you're generating leads that can afford and who actually want your product and services, if you make sure, and again, specific to what you're actually specifically offering, if you make sure you are having a consistent length of very nurturing, educating, value-driven follow-up, that is an extended follow-up sequence that keeps nurturing them where they are at by using segmentation with how engaged they are, whether they're a cold, warm, or hot lead, and you personalize that experience as much as possible. What you're going to do is drastically increase your open and click-through rates, especially over time. Especially over time, your open and click-through rates, instead of going like this, starting really high, you have a launch, you have another launch, you're not sure how to follow up with them, you're not following up very much, they're gone. And this is also affecting your profit like this, because the less engaged leads are, the less they purchase. The less they purchase, the less you make, and the less affordable your ads are. You're going to think your ads aren't working. A lot of times, I'm going to tell you this is something that you need to really pay attention to. If right now you are running traffic or advertising and you're not seeing the profit margins you like or that you think you should be seeing, it's not because, usually, if you know you're getting a really high quality lead, it's not because of the advertising, it's because of how you're nurturing them. You can even have, by the way, really bad leads or okay leads. You can have okay leads, but if you do these things right, they'll make up for it. So if you do all these things right, or at least two of them, or three of them, or one of them, you're going to see much more often than not, you're going to see your initial boost. Once in a while, you're going to see a down. Once in a while, no matter what, you're going to see a little bit lower open click-through rate, dependent on time of industry, what's going on in the world. But it will actually increase and it will maintain. The most important thing is it will eventually always maintain, because you can get it higher and higher, but there's going to be a point of where you get to the highest I've ever really seen is between 60 to 70%. And that's not maintained for long. Usually it's actually more around 50 for open rates, that is. You're going to see that it's going to maintain always at this level if you are doing these three things: getting high quality leads at a speed that are interested in your product and services. You are nurturing them as much as possible with entertaining, enticing, and educating content, follow-up, and communication. And thirdly and finally, you are doing email list segmentation according to if they're opening emails, if they're clicking on emails, according to if they're opening and clicking on or engaging with other email sequences and other nurturing sequences, if they hit a checkout cart, you name it. And also make sure you are personalizing your emails and the copy you are using. By doing these three things, and there's other things you can do too, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. By doing these three things, it doesn't matter the email provider that's receiving your emails. It doesn't matter the CRM or autoresponder you're using. It doesn't actually even matter as much the headline you're using. You're going to see over time much higher open rates, click-through rates, profits, lead retention, customer retention, and profit overall. So that, my friend, is the truth about getting high open rates, high click-through rates, high lead retention, and high profits from email marketing in any form of follow-up. Thank you for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day, and I hope you love this video. I'll hopefully see you in another one very soon. Take care.